So here we have some equations. We have a two-step equation and another two-step equation that look similar but different. And we have some multi-step equations. Notice this one has two x's, 4x and negative 6x. And then here this one has also two y's, but we have parentheses here. Okay, so let's go through these together. So when we're solving, when we have multiple operations, notice that we have an x plus 7 and we have an x divided by negative 5. Okay, so we have multiple operations. We have two operations, adding and dividing. So when you have that, you want to go in order. Okay, so remember PEMDAS. PEMDAS is the order of operations. Okay, that's for the order for simplifying. All right. Now, when you're solving, when you're moving things across the equal sign, this is order for solving is the opposite of that, which is SAD MEP. There we go. All right. So order for solving. And we'll talk more about that in class. Sorry. So the S stands for subtraction. Look to see if you're subtracting anything. And addition. Okay, so get rid of the subtracting and addition first, and then get rid of the division and multiplication, and then get rid of the exponents, and then parentheses last. Actually, some people say instead of PEMDAS, they say GEMDAS, which is like groups. That's also good, because sometimes you won't see parentheses, which we have in one of our examples. Okay, so let's look at this one. We want to use SAD MEP. So first, is there a subtraction or addition? Yes, there is. We have plus 7. We have a plus 7. So we want to get rid of that. What's the opposite of adding 7? Right? Remember, it's a plus 7, not because of this, but because we have that no sign in front. We have a plus or a minus, and there's no sign in front. Whenever you have a plus or a minus in between the number and the variable, you want to check to see in front of the number, and if you see no sign, then it's a plus, it's a positive. If you see a negative, then it's minus. So the opposite of adding 7 is subtracting 7. So let's subtract 7 from both sides. Da-dum, da-dum. And 7 minus 7 is 0. Bring down that x divided by negative 5. And we get 3 minus 7 is negative 4. And now it looks just like a one-step. So how do we get rid of this division? Opposite or inverse of dividing is multiplying. So we're going to multiply by negative 5 on both sides. Right, I'm going to put parentheses around that because we don't want to confuse the times and the negative. These cancel out. We get x equals negative 4 times negative 5, and negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 5 is 20, and that's that. All right, now here is a problem that looks similar but different because we have a fraction bar underneath the whole thing. Now, whenever there's a fraction bar above the whole thing, or underneath the whole thing, that means it's a whole group. That means it's a parentheses. Sorry about that. So, whenever you have the parentheses, then fraction bar underneath the whole multiple things, there's invisible parentheses. That's like a group. Okay. So let's do the order of solving. Is there subtracting and adding? Yes, there is, but it's inside the parentheses, so we want to do that last. Okay, so let's move on to, do we have any subtracting and adding outside of the parentheses? No. So let's go on to the dividing and multiplying. Do we have any division? Yes, we do. We have negative 5 divided by negative 5. So the opposite of dividing is multiplying. And we're going to multiply both sides by negative 5. Put that parentheses there. And these cancel out. And we're left with 7 plus x equals 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. And now, ta-da! Now we're back to the parentheses. So I just took away those parentheses. Now you want to go back, just like when we do PEMDAS, you want to go back to the beginning. So do the subtracting and adding first. So how do you get rid of that plus 7? The opposite of adding 7 is subtracting 7. So subtract 7 on the left side and subtract 7 on the right side. And we get x, these cancel out, x equals negative 15 minus 7 is negative 22. And we can check that if you'd like. Okay, plug it in and you should get 3. Here, let's do a quick check. 7 plus x over negative 5 equals 3. Plug in the negative 22. 7 plus negative 22 over negative 5 equals 3. 7 minus 22 is negative 15 over negative 5, which is positive 3. Ta-da! You see that? Works out. So let's look at number 3. This one, it looks different because there's 2 x's. Okay, so we're not doing SADMEP yet because we're not solving, because we want to get one variable first. So we need to do PEMDAS. So simplify it first. So parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So we don't have any parentheses, exponents. Multiplication, we do have some, but that's not what it's talking about. Division, adding, and subtracting. So we're going to subtract these two. 4x minus 6x is negative 2x plus 14. And if you're wondering how to get negative 2x, okay, you can use a calculator or use a number line. Equals 26. And then, hey, we have a 2-step. So now we can use SADMEP. Okay, so do the subtracting and adding first. So we're going to get rid of that plus 14. Opposite of adding 14 is subtracting 14. Cancels out. We get negative 2x equals 12. And then you want to get rid of the multiplication. We know it's multiplication because there's no symbol in between the number and the variable. So it's a multiplying. So opposite of multiplying by negative 2 is dividing. So let's divide both sides by negative 2. These cancel out. And get x equals 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. Alright, and you can check that as well. Alright, plug that in. Let's finish this up first, and then I'll do that. And then that way you can you can watch it voluntarily if you want. Okay, so number 4, we have negative 5 equals 13y minus 4 times a quantity of 2y minus 3. So because we have two variables on one side, we don't want to do SADMEP yet. We don't want to solve. We want to simplify first. So PEMDAS, parentheses, is there anything we can do inside the parentheses? No. Exponents, no. Exponents. Multiplication, yes. We have the negative 4 in front of the parentheses. That's multiplication. I know there's no sign, but there's an invisible sign. Okay, whenever there's a number in front of the number or a variable in front of the parentheses, it's multiplication. So distribute that. Negative 4 times 2y is negative 8y. And negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. Now there's another way to do this, alright, which I can show you later. so you can watch it voluntarily again. All right, now it's just like before. We want to do the adding and subtracting. So subtract 13 minus 8. Combine like terms. 13 minus 8 is 5y plus 12. And now we go into solving SADMAP. So the opposite of, we want to do the subtraction and addition first. So the opposite of adding 12 is subtracting 12. And we get negative 5 minus 12 is negative 17 equals 5y. 12 minus 12 cancels out. And now we want to do the opposite of multiplying. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing by 5. We get y equals negative 17 fifths. All right. Now, here to check this one, okay. So all you need to do is just plug it back in, substitute. So 4x minus 6x plus 14 equals 26. Check. Just substitute that in. 4 times negative 6 minus 6 times negative 6. I'm replacing all those x's with negative 6's. Plus 14. And hopefully that gives us 26. We'll see. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. Negative 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. Plus 14 is 26. And negative 24 minus 36, that's going to give us negative, okay, 4 plus 6 is going to give us 10. So 2 plus 3 is 5. So one more, 60. Negative 60 plus 14. Oh, ha ha ha. I did that on purpose. All right. So negative times a negative, that's a positive 36. I did that on purpose to see if anybody would catch that. Did you catch it? Good. So negative 24 plus 36 is going to give us 12 plus 14 equals 26. And we got 12 plus 14 is 26. So remember, everybody makes mistakes. All right, just make sure you correct them and learn from them. There we go. All right, and you can do the same thing with this one as well. And that's that.